Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen, and this is your daily dose of happy. We are so glad that you decided to join us today. And this is our Thanksgiving Rampage of Gratitude that we've been promising for the last week or so. So welcome to that as well. This is where I myself and my co-hosts and listeners and past guests all share why we are all so grateful for all the various things in our lives during this Thanksgiving season and indeed throughout the holiday season. So sit back, enjoy, because you're about to have an hour of just plain gratitude. It raises a question in my mind. Why don't we do gratitude all year long? I mean, I know that there are a few people who do as a part of, regular daily practice, but really all of us should be doing gratitude or appreciation or however we want to think about it all day long, all year long, because that's how we get into the high vibe that we all, as conscious creators, want to get into. At least those of us who are pursuing the path of being conscious creators want that. Why do we want that? Because that's how we get what we want. When we put out requests to the universe, which is basically the same thing as putting in requests to our inner consciousness, our inner God, what we're essentially doing is asking for stuff to come into our lives based on our vibration. So if our vibration is high, we get more of the stuff we really like. If our vibration isn't so high, we don't get the stuff we like so much. The stuff we get tends to be stuff that we don't like. Stuff, experiences, people, events, all of the things that appear in our lives, they appear because of our vibration level and in proportion to what our vibration level is. Gratitude and appreciation are among the quickest ways to raise our vibration. Literally, just by expressing gratitude and appreciation, we can feel our feelings just improve dramatically. And of course, our feeling is what vibration is all about. When we feel a better feeling, we are feeling at a higher vibration. And when we do it with gratitude and appreciation, we can just feel the feeling rising right up because the vibration is increasing so quickly. So just a couple thoughts to keep in mind as we talk about gratitude and appreciation throughout this whole episode that we're doing today. Thanksgiving, of course, here in the United States has a bit of a sordid history in that when the Europeans first showed up on this continent and met the natives, there were wars, there were famine, there was disease. Europeans brought a lot of disease. It really wreaked havoc with the native populations. And to be perfectly honest, some of the ways that the colonists were grateful were good, and others not quite so good. But you know what? Over time, it ironed itself out. I was talking about gratitude with Louis de Souza, who, of course, lives in the UK, and explaining to him, what it has come into being over time. And like I said to him, it's exactly what you think it would be. Thanksgiving today is about literally being grateful for everything that's in our lives, which is, how much more LOA can you get? So I guess you could kind of say Thanksgiving is the holiday of conscious creators. And what better way to look at Thanksgiving than that? Often also in this country, in the United States, we associate Thanksgiving with Christianity. But you know what? It's one of the things that Christianity kind of claims for itself that really didn't originate in Christianity. Not that Jesus didn't teach about being grateful. He did. But the idea of a holiday, of a coming together for giving thanks on an annual basis, regardless of religion, that's unique to what I'll generically call conscious creation, to people who simply believed that it was good to express gratitude and appreciation for what's in our lives.
So for the LOA team, keeping me sane in 2020 in this gorgeous beach and weather. Thank you for all you do.
I wanted to say yes, I'm very grateful to have lost my job, which sounds a little odd, but I work in tourism, so obviously not much going on there. And that's given me the opportunity for a massive reset, which I think is what's happening globally. And part of that reset and all this wonderful free time that I have to run and read and write and listen is reconnecting with you guys. And I'm massively grateful to all of you, Walt and all the fabulous team. I thoroughly enjoy the podcasts, and yes, I'm just extremely grateful to all of you for your tireless commitment to this wonderful endeavour. So here's wishing you all a very happy Thanksgiving. Much love to all the wonderful LOA team.
I am extremely grateful for you, our audience. You guys, oh man, we have the best listeners in the world. I truly, honestly feel that way. Of course, it probably has something to do with the content that we put on the show, because we try to make it high vibe content. And so we tend, of course, because of the law of attraction, we tend to attract high vibe listeners. But man, oh man, the questions that we've gotten sent in from you guys, the observations that some of you have sent in about various topics that we talked about on the episodes throughout the year, some of the live stream contributors have been producing some amazing stuff. I mean, we were so impressed, not only with your level of knowledge and understanding about how the whole conscious creation process works, but also how you apply it in your lives. So I'm telling you, I am really grateful for having, I think, the best audience in the world. And my biggest goal, and of course, I've said this many times on the podcast, my biggest goal for 2021 is to dramatically increase that size of that audience, simply because that'll mean there's even more people who are so into being high vibe and contributing in such fabulous ways to what we bring to you here on the program. So thank you guys so much. Without you, like I say this all the time, don't I? Without you, we wouldn't have a podcast. And of course, literally, when I started doing the podcast, I didn't have an audience. Louise and I did it, the first episode on September 26, 2012, a day I remember well because it was our 13th wedding anniversary. But, you know, it made it so much sweeter when you guys started coming along, especially when I started seeing not only that the people who are listening, I could see the numbers of it, because, I mean, there are ways to track that, of course, but also when I started getting input from people, when I started receiving emails, and when my co-host started getting emails, oh, wow. I mean, I don't know how to say it other than it's a great ego stroke, but it's also a reinforcement that, you know, what we're doing is important to people. And having that kind of feedback just makes the whole thing so worthwhile. Plus, I mean, it's also fun answering the questions. You guys come up with great questions. They really stimulate discussion among us who are on the program. And, you know, it just makes a wonderful show. So again, thank you guys, all of you, whether you have been listeners for years or just for the past week or somewhere in between. Thank you very, very much for being our listeners and our audience, because literally it would not be half as fun without you.
Honestly, first and foremost, thankful for the family. It's always like cliche, but, you know, I'm thankful that I have people that are around me, that love me, that care about me, that I get to spend my time with and spend Thanksgiving with. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. I'm thankful just to have the challenges in my life so I can grow, so I can become more, so I can give more, so I can serve more. And without those challenges, without those obstacles that come into our lives, we wouldn't be able to help each other, you know, like we can. We wouldn't be able to have the compassion and empathy to serve and help people. So to me, that's something to be thankful for. It's something to feel good about, even though it doesn't feel good at the time. But I hope you have a wonderful, a blessed Thanksgiving, and I'll see you on the other side. Be blessed.
One of the things I'm most grateful for here on LOA Today is all of the co-hosts that I've had over the years who have contributed so much to the program. And I just wanted to take a moment to identify each of them and tell you a little bit about why I think they're so special. First is Louis D'Souza, who does the Monday show with me. And Louis is one of the most amazing conscious creators I've ever met in my life. His perspective on life is so different from anyone else I've ever met. And it's largely because of his own journey and what he's learned along the years, but also specifically what he learned from Abraham Hicks and how well he learned Abraham Hicks. He is truly our Abraham Hicks expert. And the insights that come from him because of his understanding of how Abraham's teachings work are phenomenal. Plus, in the time that he's been with us, which is a couple of years now, he has really developed his ability to explain things so clearly over that time. Not that he wasn't good at it before, but he's really, really good at it now. When Louis first came onto the program, he did so actually at his own request. It was the first time we'd ever had somebody request to be a regular contributor on the program. And when I got the request, at that point, Joel Elston, who is also one of my favorite people and someone I'm really grateful was a co-host for many years, was doing the show with me at that time. And so I said, well, let's bring Louis on with Joel. And so even if Louis turns out to be not a particularly strong presenter, at least I'll have Joel there and we'll still have a great conversation and it'll all work out. Well, it kind of exceeded my expectations, shall we say. Louis was fabulous. He was so fabulous that after we were done and after he disconnected from the Zoom call, Joel said to me, you got to bring that guy on regularly because he really knows his stuff. And of course, if Joel tells me something, I listen and I follow through. And that's how Louis ended up joining me on the Monday program. But the insights that Louis brings are fabulous. And he's also introduced us to some stuff that we would not have even known about. I'm also grateful to his sister-in-law, Astrid Kaufman, who was a co-host for a short time, because at his request, she came on to explain Jinshin Jutsu. I mean, have you heard anyone giving you teachings about Jinshin Jutsu anywhere on the net? No, not really. There aren't a whole lot of practitioners anyway, and there certainly aren't a whole lot of people teaching it. Well, Louis brought us Jinshin Jutsu through his sister-in-law, Astrid, and through his own experiences with it as well. It's a wonderful healing art. It's a wonderful balancing art, and it has contributed so much to all of our listeners. I've heard so much good feedback from people about those Jinshin Jutsu episodes that we did. Plus, I'm also really, really grateful of the fact that whenever we have any conversational topic, I mean, literally anyone where there is some sort of contrast or polarity alluded to, Louis is the one who says, that's great. He says that in response to any negative situation. That's great. Why does he say that? Because he knows, and he says this as often as he possibly can, he knows that when you focus your attention on what you don't want, you are one short step away from choosing what you do want instead. That it's part of the creation process. It's actually step one of what is now a 5-step process that Abraham Hicks teaches. I guess 6 steps, depending on which teaching method of theirs you listen to. But that first step is knowing what you don't want, because you can't get to the second step, knowing what you do want, until you know what you don't want. So, I mean, what a wonderful, fresh way of appreciating the stuff in life we don't like so much.
Oh, well, one of them, Walt, is the coronavirus. I think it's been helping the entire planet think greater, clearer thoughts about where they want to be and where they want to go and where they want the planet to go. So during this period, I've really been thinking a lot about the coronavirus and the fact that my daughter is off at the moment at school because the whole school's had to close down for 2 weeks because so many classes have got the virus. And, you know, I'm watching my daughter think a lot about what's happening in the world and where they're going and where they want to be. And, you know, people are looking at new jobs and new ideas and I'm seeing so much good coming out of it all. You know, there's a lot of people suffering and, you know, I really respect that there are people who've got hard times and all the rest of it. But I've also seen so much good coming out of it and I'm spending a lot of time focusing on that. I also have a lot of appreciation for the health of my body, you know, through the whole coronavirus thing and, you know, all other colds and flus and other epidemics. My body is incredibly resilient, from being a very sick kid, to having a lot of health and really getting out there and, feeling the knowledge that I've gained over the years has been so valuable for me to maintain and keep a very healthy, active body going is, so appreciative of that. You have no idea, especially in these times. Then I'm really enjoying autumn. I'm absolutely loving those trees and the photographs and the walks I'm taking at the moment, and just seeing all those colors. It's really beautiful here in the UK, and I'm really appreciating that to a huge degree. I'm really letting it inspire me, and I feel creative and invigorated by the beautiful colors. I really appreciate that. And otherwise, I'm always very, very grateful for my family. You know, it's a very down-to-earth home person, and, you know, they are an incredible support structure around me that is, you know, so happy and jovial and alive, and especially the kids, they really help you. You see that kind of perspective a lot. And, you know, my wife is an absolute tower of stability, which, because I go drifting off into these other worlds of ideas, that it's good to have somebody grounding there. So I'm really appreciative of that.
And I'm also appreciative of Amy Blackburn, who had been on hiatus for the last month or so because she was making a move to a new place with her husband. But she'll be rejoining us in a week or two. And the energy that Amy brought to the show when she first came on is one that I'm really looking forward to getting back again in the weeks ahead, because any show that Louie and I do together is high vibe. Then you put Amy in there and it multiplies it. It has a multiplying effect to have Amy on the show, because her enthusiasm is so high vibe, so excited. I mean, and she gets excited about the littlest things, which of course is a big secret when it comes to how do you become a successful conscious creator. You do it by getting excited about stuff. Well, Amy is the queen of getting excited about stuff. So I'm really looking forward to getting her back soon.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So what am I grateful for? Number one on my list is going to be this beautiful new house that I've moved in with my family. I'm extremely grateful that me and my husband got remarried at the beginning of 2020. Me and my ex-husband reunited after 8 years of separation. Number three is going to be the health of my family, the well-being of all of us, and staying grounded during this time of extreme polarity in our country. Number four is going to be the completion of my novel that I will be talking about on the LOA Today podcast. And number five is going to be my return on December 7th. I can't wait to get back to our Monday momentum with Walt and Louie. I'm wishing everyone a beautiful and safe Thanksgiving.
Now, Tuesdays, that's David Strickle, the Stream of David. And wow, the things that, first of all, getting the Stream of David was a prayer answered for me, because I had thought for the longest time that the person on earth who had the best job in the world was Jerry Hicks, the late husband of Esther Hicks, because he's the one who got to ask Abraham all of the questions that ended up in their books and their tapes and so on and so forth, and their videos. Those questions that he asked were, well, first of all, they demonstrated the great depth of knowledge and understanding he already brought to the table. But second of all, they helped the world gain a better understanding of how the law of attraction actually works in our day-to-day lives. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if I had that kind of access? I would love to have the kind of job that Jerry has. And that's exactly what I get with David, because when he comes on the show to channel the Stream of David, I get to talk to source energy like Jerry got to talk to source energy without having to die first. And it's great. I mean, the insights that we get from the stream have been truly fabulous. I love the stream has a different approach, a different tack, so to speak, compared to what Abraham presents. They're both source energy, talking with us, communicating with us. But of course, they're being done through, in one case, David Strickle, and the other case through Esther Hicks. And as such, both of those people kind of provide a filtering mechanism, so that when source energy comes through David, it filters through his experiences, his knowledge, his understanding. When source comes through Esther Hicks, it filters through her knowledge, her understanding, her background, her experience. And so it creates different flavors of the same. Now, the messages are essentially the same, but the overall approach is a little bit different because of those different backgrounds of those individuals. And David, his understanding of the law of attraction and conscious creation is stellar. I mean, this is a guy who's just super, super successful in his own right, in all areas of his life. And he was able to develop this from a very early age without being taught how to do it. He did it himself. But boy, the connection he makes is a clear one. And you can tell because of the quality of the messages that come through. So I have to thank Daniel Mangano, who I'll get to in a moment, who brought us David Strickle, because having David on the program has just been absolutely fabulous. And I'm so grateful, so appreciative to him for all the contributions he has made so far. And I'm sure that he will continue to make in the weeks and months ahead.
I am grateful that we are living at such an exciting time, that consciousness is expanding in such a way that we are seeing the disruption of institutionalized thinking all around us. This is such an exciting time to be alive. I am very, very grateful for the stream flowing through me the way that they do. I'm very grateful for all of you and your questions that bring forth new information from the stream. I'm grateful for the life that I have manifested, the fantastic people in my life, and I'm grateful for my French Bulldog Lola. When I quit my job in 2017, my intention was to sort of mirror what Esther Hicks has done with Abraham, write my books and do live workshops. My intention was to travel the world, do live workshops. I knew that it was going to take time to build an audience to do that, but that was all I wanted to do. And that didn't take off for me right away. You know, I was a little unrealistic in thinking I was going to get a decent size audience and that I was going to be able to support myself with workshops and book sales right off the bat, being relatively unknown as a channel. And this opportunity came along to run an online course. And in the beginning, I sort of turned my nose up to it. And then it became really clear to me from the stream that this was an important part of my journey in building this. Then it wasn't going to be the same as Abraham. In fact, I've been very guided to really not even focus on that and allow it to manifest as it's going to manifest. There'll never be another Abraham. And I did that. I've really disconnected from any expectation of copying anything that Abraham has done or do or anything like that. And I'm allowing this to be what it is. And I realized the other day the perfection of me developing a business that is virtual. Everything that I do is from this studio at this point. And if COVID had come along and I had started building a workshop business, I would be out of business right now. Mm. So I'm really appreciative because I didn't have the following. You know, like Esther now, she can do an online and you know, bring in lots of revenue from her business doing an online workshop. You know, my business is just not there at this point. And it's just so perfect the way the universe pampered me, because I allowed it to, that it manifested in such a way that I have a virtual business now, a thriving virtual business now. And I still can do that in the future when the timing is right for it. So everything just worked out perfectly. And it would have been so easy for me to think that an online course was not the path because it wasn't this template. But my intention was best possible outcome. And because I had the intention of the best possible outcome and I took my ego out of it and I did the online course, that turned into Taya Boot Camp, which turned into something much bigger than I ever imagined it would. And here I am today with a full-blown business that's completely virtual. I'm so thankful that the universe is taking care of me in that way. It's just incredible when you get out of your own way, you take your ego out of it and set the intention for the best possible outcome, you get it every single time.
I am so glad we recorded that. That is fabulous. That is really, really good. That's going to be the close to the Rampage, by the way. That is just perfect.
Ah, thank you. Thank you.
Really, that was great.
It's one of those things that I didn't even think about. It just hit me that, oh, God, what if I had done that? You know, what if I had started, you know, spending my own money to go rent a space, charging whatever I could, you know, charge at this point, you know, to get people to come to a workshop. And maybe I get 10, maybe I get 15, maybe I get 20. And then all of a sudden the ability to do that just disappears. Who knows what I'd be doing right now? Best possible outcome.
Possibly freaking out.
It works. Yeah. I wouldn't, you know, I hopefully that. But again, it would have been my initial reaction to online course was, oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do workshops, write books. You know, and then you get a taste of reality that, okay, you know, you manifest success for sure, but there is a path to doing that. And the universal process of creation, just because there's a law of attraction, doesn't mean that you're going to win the lottery. And that's not the universal process of creation anyway. Because if I had stepped out as a channel and suddenly had, 1 million followers overnight, there would have been a lot of disruption in that process to go from zero to that, if that even happened. And so many people that discover the law of attraction want the lottery win. Well, law of attraction, I can align with being a billionaire right now, and I can be a billionaire tomorrow. Well, the stream says everything is possible, yes, but is it probable? No, because of vibrational flow. So do you really want to be an overnight billionaire? Are you ready for that? Look at the people that win the lottery, and most of them end up worse off after winning the lottery than they were before.
That's true. Yeah, it's very true. That's great. I got to ask you one more thing. When you think now about what you're doing now with the online course, Taya Bootcamp, and so forth, you know that it's been better than what you anticipated. But how do you feel about it? Like, how do you respond to it emotionally when you think about what it is that you're doing that way?
Well, again, depends on where I am in vibrational flow, what's going on in the moment. But overall, my overall feeling is I love it because my intention was to go deeper and to give people real tools to really transform their lives than other teachers are necessarily offering. That was my intention with the stream's message. And that's why I realized that what ended up getting created from that intention wasn't just the stream, answering questions, which is great, but an actual set of tools and a practice and a course that teaches the practice that really does deliver change. And we have the 100 plus graduates now to show that for that. And that's very satisfying, knowing that whether they're completely in the practice and they've completely changed their lives, or they've just changed their reaction to things a little bit. There's the gamut of all that no matter what, I have helped impact the lives of those 100 people. And it's very satisfying to know that I created a set of tools for myself that I now teach to other people, and they work, and people are very pleased with the outcome.
Yeah, that's key too. They have to work. The fact that they work probably just like multiplies the satisfaction. I would think that's the way it would seem to me anyway.
Yeah. As long as you do the practice, you can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. Because the practice teaches you that it's not about perfection. It is about the journey, but you start viewing the journey very differently. When you start viewing the journey differently, the journey becomes joyful, and the manifestations do improve, and the obstacles get a lot easier, but you don't erase the obstacles, and you don't just manifest everything you want. That's part of Taya. I'm not selling snake oil. And there are some snake oil salesmen out there that have turned people off from attraction, unfortunately. But again, you allow yourself to get burned and stop. That's the process of creation. That's on you that you got burned and stopped. It didn't say, I still know that there's some truth to this. This didn't work for me. I'm going to be a student and find something else and keep searching. And I do work with a lot of people. There are very few people that come to Taya Bootcamp that just discovered the law of attraction last week. And generally, if they do, they're not ready for Taya Bootcamp yet.
Right.
It's people that have had some success and some failure and some frustration that are hitting the wall and really ready to go to the next level. That's who joins Bootcamp. Because I teach Taya all over the place. Bootcamp, again, I always say, is for people that are really ready to take down that wall and go to a much higher level.
Now, Cindy Chavez, who does the Wednesday program with me, has been with me the longest continuously of all the current co-hosts. She's been with the show now for about 3 years. And the thing that I think that defines Cindy the best is the way that she signs her emails. Love and Magic, Cindy. That's the way she signs. And that's who Cindy is. She is love and magic. It comes through so clearly just how much love and magic there is in Cindy every single time that she talks. There's a lightness to her voice. There's a lightness to her attitude. It's almost like you can, if you're listening to the program, you can just kind of hear the light coming through Cindy because she has such a high vibe approach to the whole thing. And, interesting thing about Cindy is she's human like everybody else. And there'll be times where she'll connect in to do the show and I'll ask her how she's doing. And most of the time she's doing great, but every once in a while, not doing so well. And for all of us, when we do a show, if we're not feeling so great, the show is a big pick-me-up, and she is no exception. She loves that pick-me-up. But the thing that's amazing to me is she can say to me that, for some reason she was having a difficult time for that particular day. And then the moment that we start the show, you wouldn't know that was the case. She's instantly in that high vibe with the first thing that she says. And from that point on throughout the show, she's in that high vibe the whole way. Like, wow. I mean, that's a skill that I've really been trying to learn to emulate. And I'm appreciative to her for teaching it to me. Not to mention the fact she's the one who taught us about Neville Goddard. She's the one who actually brought us the idea, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which for her summarizes what Neville's teachings are all about in a single sentence. And you know what? I love that teaching. I use that teaching every single time that I try to visualize something that I want to bring into my life. It's a way of reminding myself to do the feeling component. That feeling component, of course, is huge. We all know that. Anyone who's been a conscious creator for any period of time knows that you want to feel and experience in your mindset what it is that you're trying to bring into your life so that you put out the vibration of having it already. Well, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled has just been tremendous. Plus, I mean, who can forget the Neville decoder ring that Cindy has contributed to the show? Basically a way of understanding. Let's be honest, Neville's teachings are a little bit convoluted. He wraps them up in Christian teachings, and that can really confuse the issue because what he has in mind and what the Christian church has in mind when they interpret various scriptures are quite different things, to say the least. But the Neville decoder ring makes it a lot easier to understand. And I think the teachings of Neville that Cindy has brought to us have clarified for me, crystallized for me, just what exactly God is. I always had problems with the idea of God. I don't have the problems that I used to have because now I understand through Neville's teaching, God is consciousness. God is pure consciousness. And when I think about it that way, a whole bunch of stuff I used to be resistant to kind of melts away because now it's clear, crystal clear. And clarity is one of the highest vibe places you can get. So thank you, Cindy, for bringing us Neville as well as all of the wonderful teachings you brought. Plus also, you brought to the LOA Today app the lovely Magician's Guide to Soulmate Success, which is a wonderful ebook that helps people to find the love of their lives and plus to improve all of their relationships. And as Cindy likes to point out, we have relationships with everyone and everything in our lives. So what's more important than our relationships?
The first thing is I'm thankful for all of our viewers, listeners, fans, people that listen to us every day or every week. I've got an inbox with more wonderful words from them, and that's just amazing. I'm thankful for my family, my marriage, my kids, all the people around me, and thankful that we have ways to connect with each other during this time, that we're all kind of cocooned away from each other. Thankful for technology and ways to connect. So very thankful for that. I'm thankful for my communities, my online communities. They have been like super, super important to me in the past, but now even more so important. And I'm just thankful that there's so much goodness and so much beauty still in the world. Sometimes it's easy to pay attention to all the things that are not perfect. And it's still so hopeful to realize that even with the situation we're all in now, with so many things that we don't feel like we should be thankful for, there still is the other side of that coin. And so we still have, hope, and we still have people in the world that are full of goodness and people that are showing love to each other every day. And those are some of the things I'm thankful for. I think I got to 5.
Oh, you went well beyond 5, I think. That was great. Well, thank you. I'm grateful for you, too. Now, Thursdays, of course, that's Daniel Mangena and Alex King. And first of all, Daniel is just the most prolific producer of fabulous content that I've ever met. Not only has he brought himself to us, and by the way, he came to us through Steve Rowell, who was for a short time a co-creative co-host on the show. And Daniel is just, the clarity of understanding he has is fabulous. He's self-taught. I don't know if people realize all of the stuff that he teaches, he taught himself. Yes, he has other influences, other teachers who have taught him stuff, but most of it came out of an experience that he had. I believe he was in New York City at the time, or perhaps just outside of New York City. And he had an epiphany one day, and all this clarity came to him. And through that clarity, he started to piece together what he teaches in his own workshops and in his Facebook group and as a life coach and so forth. He's self-taught. That there aren't many people who can do that. Most people who learn this stuff learn it from somebody else, and then they learn to be good at it with the help of somebody else. Either as a person training to be a life coach or an energy coach or a psychic or whatever. Not David, or Daniel rather. Daniel taught himself almost all of it. I mean, he picked stuff up from other people on the way, but he's the one who pieced together his Stepping Beyond Intention paradigm, which became the basis for his book. It became the basis for the audio book that he gave to us on the LOA Today app. And it became the basis for the money game. And I just want to take a moment to remind people about the money game. If you have issues with money and you want to be able to attract more money into your life more often, the money game is a great way to learn to do that. And what it essentially does is it teaches you to trust the fact that you can attract money into your life through direct experience. So, thank you to Daniel for all those contributions.
I'm grateful that Alex can pre-watch Supernatural for me, so I don't have to break my heart. Well, I stayed up till, anyway, we'll talk about that when I'm not doing gratitude. I'm grateful for the weather. I'm grateful for the freedom that I get to experience here. I'm grateful that my small human didn't come out premature. And I'm grateful for my family.
Plus, when he and Alex get onto the same podcast, I tell you, Thursday is the one that I look forward to the most, simply because I know I'm going to laugh my head off. Those two are explosively funny, and they don't do it. They don't come onto the show to try to be funny. They just are funny together. I mean, they're a fabulous combination. Alex has been on now for a little over 2 years. And in the time she's been on, she never tries to pass herself off as a great LOA coach, which she, it's not really been her interest to do that. She just comes in with this honesty, this incredible honesty. And that's where her humor comes from. Her humor comes from this incredible down-to-earth honesty that just adds a tremendous vibe to the whole show. So I am so grateful for Daniel and Alex and the fact that they do the Thursday show with me.
Okay, so this year I'm grateful for, number one, my health, because I have gone through a lot of health issues this year and I'm still here. So in turn, I'm also grateful for the doctors that are in my life because they help me stay healthy. Second thing I'm grateful for is Kenny. He was a blessing this year. And third thing I'm grateful for is my family's health and happiness.
By the way, Alex, as you know, has not been able to do a lot of shows lately. She's been dealing with some health issues, and she is largely past them. She's still trying to get past some of them with some help of some good medical people. But I have to point out that one of the medical issues she was experiencing and dealing with was one that her doctors weren't able to figure out. And she didn't even know about it until Rita Giganti, who does the Friday show with us, was able to point them out in her capacity as Psychic Rita. And if you want to hear the details about this, go back to, I think it was August, one of the episodes in August where Rita was doing psychic readings, and Alex had sent in questions about her own life situation. And Rita had mentioned to me, do you know if she's got some sort of pain going on in her upper chest? And I didn't know about anything like that. And Alex didn't know anything about that. She said, well, there's something in the upper chest. You got to check that out. Well, it turned out she was absolutely right. The doctors had missed it. She ended up with a punctured lung, and she ended up with this, I think it's called thoracic endometriosis, which is a fairly rare but treatable condition that the doctors didn't even know she had. Well, Psychic Rita knew. So that takes me to Friday with Psychic Rita Giganti and energy coach Linda Armstrong. And what they have contributed has been tangible. Really tangible. I mean, first of all, so many people who have sent in help for questions that they've asked of Rita have been helped by it for sure. And I love the fact that Rita not only has the ability to get this terrific information from spirit for people, but she is so down to earth, almost saltily down to earth, sardonically down to earth. That's her New York sense of humor. I guess partly it's also being the daughter of the former biggest crime boss in New York City, who has since passed on. And as with all of my co-hosts and everybody who's ever been through traumatic times, the experiences that they go through are not experiences they ever want to repeat again, but they learn so much from them, and they've shaped who Rita has become. And as a result, she is one of the most freeing psychics I've ever talked to, because she doesn't take herself seriously. She takes spirit seriously, but she doesn't take it seriously to the point of, oh, this is the end and the beginning and everything in the middle. This is just, here's some information that's coming through from spirit, and just take it or leave it. I love that approach.
I mean, every day I get up, I have like a litany that I do of thanks for, family, friends, animals, the ground, the earth, the water that we drink. I mean, it's for me, it's just a daily, it's like, how this is a daily dose of happy. It's like a daily dose of gratitude, because for me, it's what picks me up immediately in the morning. It just, creates a feeling of peacefulness and hope and joy. So for me, it's just like, it's a no-brainer. It's pretty much everything that surrounds me, and even things I can't see.
And then there's Linda Armstrong, who's been with us for about 2.5 years now. I have learned more from Linda about how to trust my internal connections than from anybody else. And I'm really appreciative to what Linda has taught me over the years, and to what she has taught to our listeners as well. She is an energy coach. I didn't even know what an energy coach was when she first came onto the program. But wow, the things that she has taught about how to connect to the energy that's around us and through us, because after all, we are all source energy, but being able to connect to it. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. There was a time, and longtime listeners know this, that I didn't think I could connect in that way. I thought I couldn't get any messages or whatever. Linda's the one who helped me break through, and I still have a long ways to go, but boy, I've learned an awful lot about how to make that internal connection and receive that internal information from Linda Armstrong. So thank you, Linda. Really appreciate it. And yes, Rita, I am learning to believe, but it takes a little time sometimes for some of us.
Hi, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Everybody on the show here wanted to spread a little bit of their gratitude for the things they're grateful for. And so this is my piece. Really, really grateful for my family and my friends, of course, always. Super grateful that I get to do the work that I do and connect to this energy like every day, helping people. Especially grateful to those people who trust me to be able to help them, right? Who just find me somehow, some way. It's almost magical. And grateful for I'm looking at my little kitty, grateful for my pets, like all the things that bring me joy, even the simplest things. So I guess I would maybe leave it with that even the simplest things that can give me joy at any moment throughout the day, I'm most grateful for those things.
Now, past members who have also been co-hosts, I want to recognize them. First and foremost has to be Joel Elston. Joel was a co-host on 2 different segments of time for 2 different pieces of time. For the longest time, he was my weekly co-host. I did this as a weekly show for the first few years, and he was my co-host. He was my second co-host after my sister-in-law, Yona June Thiessen, who has also been on for a couple times. She was my co-host back in 2013, and 2012 to 2013, actually. No, 2013 to 2014, sorry. And then Joel picked up 2014 through 2016, and then he had to take a little time off, and then he came back and did it for another few years. But Joel is one of the most amazing people I've ever met, and I learned a tremendous amount from him. He helped me in ways that I can hardly even count up all the different ways he helped, and I'm so appreciative to him. And my sister-in-law, Ioana, when she was on the show, I learned a whole lot from her. She brought the scientific perspective, and I've really learned to appreciate that scientific perspective because of the contributions that Ioana made. So thank you, Ioana, as well. Of course, I'll be talking to you as a family member later on today. Other people who've been on the show, Wendy Dillard came on around the same time Cindy Chavez did, as did Tom Wells. Missed both of them, but they were fabulous while they were on the show. Wendy in particular just had a real down-to-earth way of approaching this entire topic that I really appreciate, and I miss too. David Bartkey. Oh, well, let me mention Tom Wells too. Tom is probably the most woo-woo guy we ever had, because he brought, I guess you might call it, a progressive perspective to the whole show, and he had a perspective I'd never seen before. So I love the time that he was on the show. He wasn't able to stay on for a tremendously long period of time, but he was on for, what was it, about 6 months, 7 months or something like that. And the time he was on was great. David Bartkey, he came in the first time that Joel had to drop off the show. He was Joel's replacement for a 4 or 5 month period. Joel came back shortly after that, but the time David was on was great, in part because David is one of the most sure-footed conscious creators I've ever met. And to prove it, he likes to go with his family to Atlantic City periodically. He lives in New Jersey. He goes to Atlantic City and he plays the slot machines. Now, anyone who knows how the odds work will tell you the slot machines are probably the least productive way to try to gamble because the odds are so stacked against you. Well, David doesn't really worry about that because he just goes in with that high vibe and he wins. He had so many stories. It was like week after week. He'd tell about how he went to Atlantic City and he came away with far more money than when he left. My favorite story was the time that there's one particular slot game, I guess he likes to play, where you can get free spins. And he won 500 free spins. And he just kept pouring out money. A few spins, some money, a few spins, some money. Just crazy. So I really miss having David on the program, but I really appreciate the time he was on. Others who were on, there was Louis' sister-in-law, Astrid Kaufman, who was on for a time. Steve Rowell, who brought us Daniel Mangana, was on for a time. We also had many guests who have been on throughout the years, and I'm appreciative of all of those. But simple fact is, it's so much easier to do a podcast when you have so many great people to do the podcast with you. And I've learned so much from all of them. I'm so grateful that they've all been a part of LOA today.
Hello, this is Michelle Blood wishing everyone a very, very happy and blessed Thanksgiving. So Walt asked me to say a few words for you, and I thought what fun it would be, instead of me just speaking about what I'm grateful for, because I teach about affirmation power, let's all do affirmations together about what we're grateful for, because then when you're grateful, you have more to be grateful for. So I'm going to kindly ask you all to really get your enthusiasm up and repeat these affirmations after me. I am so grateful for my wonderful life. I am so grateful for good fortune. I am so grateful for loving, harmonious relationships. I am so grateful that I am a magnet to money and success. I am so grateful that my heart is overflowing with inner peace and joy. I am so grateful for life itself. I am so grateful that I am glowing with health and vitality. And I am grateful to the divine presence that is omnipresent. So repeat these affirmations, write them down, feel grateful in every moment, and then you'll have more and more to be grateful for. This is Michelle Blood saying, I am grateful to you.
As we approach this Thanksgiving season, we do so in a year where there has been a lot of stuff to deal with. There's been an economy that's been in crisis. There have been race relations that have been troubling here in the U.S. and in other places around the world. But the biggest issue by far of 2020 has been COVID. And COVID has affected a tremendous amount of people. I mean, something at this point in time, something like 1.4 million people have died from it. Tens of millions have contracted the disease and had to fight it. But I want to point out what some of the positives are. First of all, 7.8 billion, not million, 7.8 billion people so far on Earth have survived COVID. And in fact, most of them haven't even contracted the disease. We kind of skip over that, don't we? But the fact is, that's something to be grateful for. Despite the fact that this has been such a prevalent part of our lives, most people aren't getting sick. And that's something really, really to be grateful for. Now, we don't know how that's going to play out, but I'll tell you what, the more that we focus on that individually, the more likelihood we're going to survive, the lower the likelihood we'll actually contract the illness. And if we do contract it, we will tremendously increase our abilities to survive it. So, focus on that fact. Despite all the fear, and let's be honest, there's been a tremendous amount of fear where COVID has been concerned. Despite all that fear, look how many people are surviving. It's really quite impressive. Also, there is lots of reason to be appreciative of the medical profession who are trying very hard to help us get through this thing and to find cures for this whole thing. And indeed, as we record this, a number of companies, a number of researchers are on the verge of producing products that will either be vaccines or treatments for COVID. And the early signs are that many of them have very, very high levels of success. Levels of success you don't often see with new drug treatments or medical treatments of various kinds. And yet they're coming. And they're probably going to be out within the next month or two. They're going to start coming out. There are a number of them we can point to. One I'm really interested in comes from Australia. This is a small group that have been doing research, and they've come up with something that in their initial testing with, I'm not sure what kind of animals they were testing with, but they had like a 95% success rate. And it's not just a vaccine, it's a nasal inhalant. So literally, 2 sniffs and you're treated. And it's not just, it's not prophylactic, it's also treatment if you've already got the disease. It works both ways. That one's the most amazing one to me and the most fabulous one. And while they are still in their trials period, learning how to put this together in a way that humans can use and benefit from, I expect we're probably going to hear from the Australians within the next, I would say, 3 months or so about their products. So there's a lot of stuff that's out in the pipeline right now and a lot of reasons to believe that, well, I'll tell you point blank, I think that we're going to largely have COVID behind us by this coming spring. And it's because of the medical professionals. So thank you to everybody in the medical profession, not only those who are doing the research, but also those who help people who contract the disease and have been suffering through it. They've been through some horrific times, but they just keep at it. They keep going and they keep going. And there's every reason to be so appreciative of them. Also, there's reason to be appreciative of the people who held what are designated as the essential jobs and who have helped keep pipelines going of supplies and the stuff that we need. Every reason to be appreciative of those people. And this is a good time to remember all the contributions that they have made. We appreciate them very much. Plus, there's also something else that comes along whenever we deal with something that we associate with being so negative. And so many people have a negative association where COVID is concerned. And that is we achieve levels of clarity that we've never had before. And indeed, I think that really is the watchword of 2020. The year 2020 has been about the year of clarity. We have achieved tremendous levels of clarity. Not always clarity that we like, but we always have to keep in mind, even among the stuff we don't like, the stuff that we don't prefer, those are springboards to things that we do like and do prefer. And if we can retain that perspective, then COVID becomes, in many ways, valuable to us. I know that doesn't sound like what you normally hear about COVID, but that's really the greatest lesson we can gain from it, is that we have learned all the different ways that things have worked out well. For instance, we've had lockdowns, right, where we can't leave our homes, where we're limited on things that we can do. But because of the technologies that we have, we can still communicate with each other. We can do Zoom sessions and Skype sessions and FaceTime sessions and so on and so forth. And stay in touch with people we love and care about, stay in touch with our friends, stay in touch with our business associates. Look how many people are now working from home because of COVID. Well, that was something that people desired for the longest time. It's kind of a lesson of, well, be careful how you wish for something, because this is perhaps not the best way to get there in some people's minds. But nevertheless, more people are working from home than ever before. And I think that's a trend that's going to continue after COVID has been licked. So lots and lots of benefits that have come out of it. We just have to look for them. And we're not saying that, I'm not saying that you want to appreciate the fact that so many people get sick and so many people die. I'm saying appreciate what has come out of that, what we have gained from it, because there's been so much that we've gained from it.
I'm thankful for the LOA Today app. Thanks for keeping my vibe up in 2020.
Another thing I am grateful for is all the things and experiences and people and events that are yet to come that I'm drawing into my life right now. I also want to remember that everything that comes into my life does so because I create them. And that includes the stuff that I don't like so much. It happens because, like everybody else, I'm a human, and sometimes I end up focusing my attention on stuff I don't like so much, and then I get more of what I don't like. But I love the lesson that teaches me, because it reminds me that the more time and the more energy and the more concentration I give, the more attention that I give to focusing on stuff that I like and prefer, the more I get in my life that I like and prefer. So I'm actually grateful for the fact that I sometimes slip in terms of what I'm focusing on, because it gives me a great reminder of what it takes to have the life that I'm looking for. And let's be honest, my life has been improving substantially since I first watched The Secret. What was it, about 12 years ago? Yeah, there was a tough time there for a number of years, but I've been coming out of that tough time. And that's why I'm so looking forward to what's coming in the years to come, because I think it's going to be pretty darn cool. So just wanted to point out, it's all what you focus on. And if you focus on stuff being great, being cool, being fun, you're going to get more of it. And that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the stuff that's yet to come.
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm grateful for the fact that the earth revolves around the sun, and that the moon revolves around the earth every day. And everything that led to my ancestors being strong and healthy enough to reproduce over and over from the beginning of time till me. And all the food and all the circumstances that had to be just right for that to happen. And every meal I've ever had, and all the factors that came to being for that. And every time I got off of a plane or a bus or out of a car at my destination, safe and sound, without being hurt or in a wreck, and all the other drivers on the road, and everything that had to be just right for that to happen. I'm grateful that I'm here today, and I'm grateful for everything that's in my life that's supporting my life as it is now. All the people that pick up the trash and keep the lights running and keep the world going. I'm grateful for everything that's making my life the way it is. I'm grateful for you guys and the podcast. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.
So many people have learned to adapt and survive and thrive in 2020. In a year where so many things seem to have gone wrong. But the ones who are surviving and thriving are the ones who refuse to see it as a year gone wrong. They're seeing it as a year gone right. I'm grateful for 2020, and I urge you to be grateful for 2020. But most importantly, I'm grateful for and appreciative of, once again, you guys, my audience, and the audience of my co-hosts. This has been the passion of my life. It took me a long time to discover my passion. I had no idea it was doing a podcast. But, oh my goodness, it's so much fun. And I just wanted to reiterate once more, I appreciate what you guys bring to the table. So there you have it. There's our Rampage of Gratitude Thanksgiving video. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching if you're watching the video. Thank you so much for being who you are. And we'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.